Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're feeling absolutely crushed under this never-ending avalanche of emails, meetings, and those to-do lists that somehow seem to multiply while you sleep, well, you definitely aren't alone. Today, we're tackling the modern professional's absolute biggest nightmare. We're going to talk about what to do when there's simply too much to do.
So, I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. Do you really need to work so long and hard to get everything done? Or, is it possible that those 60, maybe 80-hour work weeks are actually just a giant sign of inefficiency? We're all conditioned to just go, 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 right? But running faster on a hamster wheel doesn't actually mean you're moving forward. To help break this vicious cycle, we're turning to Laura Stack's incredibly helpful blueprint, What to Do When There's Too Much to Do. Stack is basically a master at helping professionals like us step right off that treadmill of overwork. So we'll use her insights to completely transform your workday. We're talking about reducing tasks, actually increasing results, and reclaiming your sanity.
Here's our agenda for today. First, the productivity paradox, followed by the workflow formula unveiled. Then, sort, schedule, and focus, processing data and closing loops, managing your personal capacity, and finally, reclaiming 90 minutes daily. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The productivity paradox. Why working more decreases productivity. So the old corporate mantra has pretty much always been doing more with less, right? We've all heard it. But Stack completely flips that on its head. Her philosophy? It's all about doing less to achieve more. Because the objective here isn't to cram some impossible number of tasks into a shrinking day. No, it's to ruthlessly reduce your load so you can actually focus on what yields significant results. And look, if you refuse to step off that treadmill, the hidden costs of workaholism are actually pretty terrifying. We aren't just talking about being tired. We're looking at higher divorce rates, increased anxiety and depression in children, and some really severe stress-related ailments. Plus, working 80 hours a week literally yields diminishing returns in corporate loyalty. I mean, if economic necessity dictates layoffs and you get a pink slip tomorrow, what are you left with? It's just a lose-lose situation.
Section 2. The workflow formula unveiled. A systematic solution. Okay, so here is the productivity workflow formula, or PWF. It relies on 6 really distinct steps: determine, schedule, focus, process, close, and manage. Honestly, mastering this formula is exactly what turns you into one of those top 5% of employees who somehow create 95% of an organization's value.
Section 3. Sort, schedule, and focus. Steps 1, 2, and 3.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than to get permission. Stack actually got this piece of memorable advice from her dad, who was a retired Air Force colonel. And the point is, when determining what to do, you have to aggressively cut tasks that just aren't contributing to your objectives. Think about it. If a task only benefits someone else and literally does nothing for your immediate or long-term goals, why are you doing it? Hand it off, or honestly, just drop it. If someone screams about it, sure, you can consider putting it back on your list, but chances are, no one's even going to notice.
Now, once you've triaged that list, you have to physically schedule time for the work. You need to protect your calendar like your life depends on it. And frankly, you have to learn how to say no. And when it's finally time to execute, stop multitasking. I know, it's so tempting to take a quick mental vacation with some easy little task, but you really must hone your concentration to razor sharpness if you want to get that high-value work done.
Section 4. Process data, close loops, steps 4 and 5.
So, we are constantly, relentlessly bombarded with data. To tame this massive information glut, Stack recommends what she calls the 6D information management system. The secret here is making lightning-fast decisions, filtering out the worthless stuff immediately. Then, strictly organize the rest of it, your emails, paper, voicemails, so you never lose track of them. Because without these filters in place, data is absolutely going to clog up your productivity pipeline. And once that data is actually flowing properly, you've got to close the loop. True experts are constantly reevaluating, reducing inefficiencies, and breaking those annoying bottlenecks. Stack makes a really fantastic point here. When you spot a workflow weakness, you actually have an obligation to fix it. Don't just joke around about being disorganized at the water cooler. Step up, tighten up the system, and be the expert.
Section 5. Manage your personal capacity. Step 6.
Now, there are 4 main pillars that power this entire system:
getting adequate sleep, watching your diet, exercising your body, and cultivating personal happiness. And listen, if you ignore these, the whole shebang crumbles. You can have the most beautifully triaged to-do list in the entire world, but if you're running on empty, you are not going to accomplish a thing. So I have to ask, are you making yourself a priority? I know it's incredibly tough. We are all so used to sacrificing our own well-being for our jobs. But look, you clearly have immense self-discipline, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to work so many hours in the first place. The real challenge here is redirecting that exact same discipline to actually put your health first rather than last.
Section 6. Reclaiming 90 minutes daily, the ultimate reward.
90. That is the magic number. The ultimate promise of this book is that by aggressively separating the valuable wheat from the non-productive chaff, you can realistically save an hour and a half, 90 whole minutes every single day. Stack's clients have verified this over and over again. By streamlining your communication, dropping those useless tasks, and just maintaining your focus, that time is officially yours to reclaim. And what exactly do you do with that time? Will you take it to actually live your life instead of just working it away? This extra 90 minutes, it is not for cramming in more spreadsheets. It's for achieving some sustainable balance. It's so you can finish your high-value work, exceed expectations, and then actually go home on time to recharge. Which brings us to one final, really important question. Are you going to continue the exhausting, destructive cycle of workaholism, or will you finally choose to reduce? You literally have a whole new productive lease on life to gain here. Remember, it's not about doing more with less, it's about doing less to achieve more. So start reducing today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you on the next one.